Everybody, welcome to this week's Star Report. This is Jason, and I'm here in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. And today's report is for July the 8th through July the 14th, 2026. And as usual, we jump right in with the sun because it is our closest star. And the sun has been mostly quiet, except for some crazy activity that happened, I think it was yesterday, and is going to miss. There was a large plasma filament that released. It would have given us a pretty severe solar storm, which would have, I won't say disabled, but probably um, caused intermittent outages of satellites and GPS and a little bit of cell phone and internet service. But it is going to go. What's the word? It is going to move past us. So it launched off the sun, and Earth is going. So my hands aren't doing what they're supposed to do. But anyway, here's the Earth, and it's gonna miss behind the Earth because the Earth has moved away. Anyway, yeah, so you don't have to worry about that, but it was pretty big. So those of you who are sensitive might have felt a large release of energy yesterday for that. Currently, the large coronal hole that was a center disk, so it should be a direct plasma stream that comes out of that should be impacting the Earth tomorrow, probably tomorrow evening. And we know coronal hole streams is constrictive or compression, and also causes an uptick in um, what's the word? Earthquakes. It's like not volcanoes. Well, I mean, I guess it could be if it's on the right fault. Uh, Earthquakes, and so if you feel a little sluggish tomorrow, towards the end of the day, A, you work too hard, or B, it's the energy from the sun. But yeah, that should be tomorrow evening, and then probably a little bit into Friday, if you want to pay attention to that. Well, you're currently in the zodiac of Cancer, and that alchemically in our physical body really corresponds to the spleen, the stomach, and the breast. So you might be feeling more gut instincts or intuition sort of peaking during that. Spleen is usually where we sort of keep all of our negative energy that we're in, right? So that's other people's bullshit that we have to filter out. So you might be sort of feeling triggered or annoyed by lots of other people. And then in our breast area is really how we sort of give ourselves to others or nurture ourselves and others. So you might be sort of feeling a little bit of sensitivity if you feel like you're giving more than the other person in relationships. So pay attention to that energy so that you don't overreact and realize it's just an intensification for examination, not necessarily for judgment. Yeah. We're currently in three retrogrades. Mercury retrograde until July the 23rd. Um, Resolution to long held, long standing, to long standing things that happened a long time ago. There we go. Misunderstandings. So resolution to misunderstandings is really the energy that's sort of happening with the retrograde this time. And of course, pay attention to travel and difficulties and yada yada yada. Slowdowns. There's just a slowdown on the way to the gym today. I was like, oh, come on, Mercury, stop it. What is even happening? Working on the highway on the way to the gym. Um, yeah, so that's Mercury retrograde. Pluto is in retrograde as well until October the 15th. And it's really sort of rewriting you or your story based on self forgiveness and discovery. All of that self forgiveness and discovery is, hey, what are these? It's like Mercury's helping us, right? Resolution of long-standing misunderstandings, right? And so loving yourself through misunderstanding, meaning you're not dumb if you believe something, or you're not dumb for hoping for something different, blah, 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 blah. That's the kind of energy that it's talked about, rewriting with self forgiveness and discovery. And then Neptune's in retrograde until December the 12th. And that's really going to be helping us revelation of how you've been limiting your own awareness. Oh, you mean we're not as psychic as we could be because we think we're not as psychic as we could be? And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy because we're actually more psychic than we believe and have a definite part to play in our expectations creating the majority of our reality that isn't shared. Yeah, so there's that. Sounds fun. Good retrograde. Leads us into today, Wednesday, the 8th of July. We're a week away from, well, we're 7 days. A week away from the last, well, I guess it is 7 days is a week. 7 days is a week. It looks like there's a poor there's a poor delivery driver out front who doesn't seem like he can find the right house. New neighborhood, so the actual GPS leads people in the wrong place. So it looks like it's actually a poopa scoopa. Somebody can't pick up after their own dogs. Or maybe they don't want to. So yeah, pretty funny. Anyway, got distracted. So today it's a week away from the last super new moon of the day of the week of the year, whatever. You know what I mean? And so usually that sort of energy when the moon is going to go new is kind of a slowdown. You want to think of it as an after action report. You're starting to, hey, what's happened since the last new moon? This one is actually over the last 3 months. There's a whole lot of things conjoining and retrograding and all coming together on that day to sort of really give us a heads up of what's been going on over the last 3 months. And a lot of that slowdown is also ending of like school years, ending of eras, ending kind of stuff like that. Uh, there is a ending or a switch over of a spiritual era, not an error. And so error, was that readjusting me? Fancy new camera thinks I can't be. I really don't want to be getting smaller and bigger. It wants to focus in on my head. But anyway, yeah. So spiritual new era with Neptune in retrograde. The new era isn't. This new spiritual era isn't really a new spirituality or a spiritual religious era, which might be a diversion if you pay attention to the news, or if you're a former religious person, you pay attention to religious things. The excommunications or the Latin Mass and the post Vatican II Mass sort of divisions you see going on there. It's really more of a new spiritual era where we have more of our own personal agency rather than outside agency determining or leading our spiritual development, our spiritual power. What did I write? Because it sounded better when I wrote it. I was like, what's going on? Distractions of things out front. Probably not helping. I should close my blinds so I'm not watching the neighborhood, but I'm not. Anyway, so the group grasping our own agency in the spiritual realm is really what's going on. We're becoming more aware of how spiritual we are and how it solidifies into this realm of interaction. Right? So our agency is much more to do with the spiritual realm that we encounter than what something outside of us tells us is the spiritual realm's influence on where we are. Yeah, so that's be so so it's a fun Wednesday, right? Better not have left that on the wrong porch, UPS guy. Anyway, Thursday is the next day on the report, the 9th of July. The combinations of the retrogrades have really sort of had you looking backwards. And on Thursday, that looking backwards is sort of evident. It's not to see or to judge what you've done, but to love and release yourself from what's been limiting you. Yeah, so sometimes that's what's going on with that. The thing that sort of influenced planetarily wise, then it's going to be Venus. So Venus is going to be giving us an influence where we are experiencing those revelations in the spirit and feeling of love rather than anger or judgment or sometimes even disappointment and dissatisfaction. Like, oh man, I could have been a contender if I would have blah blah blah. So pay attention to that. Leads us into Friday. What's Friday? Friday is the 10th of July. And so after Thursday's look back, Jupiter and Uranus are aligning to show us how to expand into the future, right? So not necessarily build into the future, but to expand ourselves into the future, right? So it's not something to do necessarily outside the self, but how we can grow into what the future is, and we have our own agency. Oh my God, this is like a theological discussion today. It's like you're a divine eternal soul, worthy of love and affection, that you're never going to die. And the astrology, the planet is really just giving you an owner's manual of the energies or the tools in your tool belt that you could use for interacting in the world. Yeah. Anyway, so it's going to align to show us how to expand into the future. Jupiter's going to be giving you spiritual competence. Did I say competency? That's come on, man. That you so it's going to be giving you spiritual confidence that you are spiritually enough for the journey ahead. The alignment is also ripe for quantum. I was like, what is that? For sort of quantum leaps forward and like stuff you've been trying to do is like all of a sudden like it's easier. All of a sudden you're like 10 steps ahead of where you thought you were going to be. Um, and it sort of seems like it's actually shorter paths to the goals that you've been doing. So yeah, so that alignment's good. So it might be some Good Friday stuff like, oh, I thought it was going to take this and that, or hey, on Friday before work, I got offered, or Friday after work, I got offered a new job, and it's exactly what I've been looking for, but I didn't know how I was going to do it, or if I was qualified, or blah 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 blah, all that fun stuff. Or oh my god, that was the best meditation of my life. Chipotle is my life. Anyway, Saturday, the 11th of July, we will be halfway through Mercury retrograde. And basically, the first 11 days of Mercury retrograde has been about discovery. And those days of discovery are going to lead into the next 12 days of integration. And so it's just like, hey, what did you learn about yourself? How can you operate differently? If you are really the spiritual drive of your life, then your expectations, your beliefs, your prayers, your intentions are what sort of guide you towards that. So that's a good thing. Integrating how to actually be the person that you know you are or that you've discovered you were. And so for many, you may discover mental breakthroughs on Saturday where you'll see the world different, right? So this epiphany could be just you see the field differently. A lot of times this happens with people. Sometimes you call it being in the zone, right? But all of a sudden the field just opens up and you sort of see the players and the things that are sort of moving you through life. And so you want to pay attention to that energy. Um, blah, 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 blah. Did I just skip a day? No, I didn't. Yeah, I'm back here. I was going to leave out a whole day. You may discover mental breakthroughs where you see the world different and your role in it differently. That's one of the main things that the world isn't just happening. The world is waiting for your participation, right? So if you've been not participating, you might all of a sudden see where you can contribute, participate, integrate, be out there rather than in here. And that could be because you discovered what being in here is like. So you know what. Anyway, yeah. So what comes first, chicken or the egg? Leads us to Sunday, the 12th of July. Venus again influences us this week. And really on Sunday, it's going to be about a heart opening. And that heart opening has you your intuition turned up on high. And so, yeah. So when your intuition is turned up on high, helping you to not doubt yourself, but to trust yourself. And so on Sunday, you really want to be into like, oh, I've got this feeling. Oh, maybe it's nothing, right? This is a shift from ignoring your inner heart or your inner intuition and going, wait a second, what did my intuition just tell me? Let me contemplate that. Let me act on that rather than the logic that I had built before, right? Otherwise, what would the intuition or your heart why would it have bothered if you were already going the right way through your logic to give you that intuition at that moment? That would be the information that you should sort of pay attention to on Sunday. Monday, the 13th of July, the Sun and Mercury align to make self-expression easier. If you're discovering all this intuition and whatever discovery about the self, this sort of self-expression easier is really sort of how do you put into words all that intuition? from Sunday, and get that across to people, especially in this instance on Monday, communication of intuition to family of why am I doing what I'm doing, or why you can't do what they felt you should be doing, all the fun stuff. So it's a good day to act from your gut on Monday, right? So you discover what your gut's telling you on Sunday and act on Monday. Leads us into Tuesday, the 14th of July. It is a 22 master day, and it is also the super new moon. So, yeah, like I said at the beginning of the report, it's really sort of the culmination of the last 3 months. Is now what you've been working on is now coming to sort of fruition. Today, you have the power to let go of all you've outgrown and to show the you thought should stay hidden. Yeah, I was like, what did I write? I was like, is this a note or is this a sentence that's gonna make sense? Yeah. So let me read that again, right? So today you have the power to let go of all you've outgrown and to show the you thought should stay hidden. Right. So this is just sort of kind of a big reveal, right? Or starting to test things out. Like, hey, here's who I am, guys. Like it or not. I'm a divine eternal soul worthy of love and affection. I'm never going to die. And so taking that into a serious contemplation of what does that mean? How would I interact in the world? And who am I and what can I let go of, which makes me not that? And hey, here's me letting go of all that, like it or not kind of stuff. Yeah. So that sounds like fun stuff. I think that's everything. Feels like I'm out of breath. I don't usually get this way. So if this came across preachy, this sort of feels like a sermon. Or when it used to be from the pulpit where I'm just like, yeah, and take this and take this, and here's another thing. And did you know? Um, yeah. Even with the distractions of the poor guy who can't find the house he's trying to go to. Oh well. Yeah, I think that's everything. Uh, of course, until next time, everybody. Many blessings. Let me find the stop button.